In the high stakes world of the UFC, every fighter has a moment that tests their grit and their strategy. Anthony Lionheart Smith, whose name is very appropriate, is facing off against Khalil Rountree, who is a Muay Thai specialist. And I'm very concerned. The reason for this concern I'll lay out later in the video, but I do want to pose a question that you can comment on in the comment section. And it's, if you were in Anthony Smith's camp, if you were a prominent member that he listens to, what advice would you give to him?
Listen, stop feeling sorry for your well, come on then. What's wrong with you? You're too now you gotta pull the out of fire.
We'll lay this out and we'll lay out why this is a question that pops up in my head. Anthony Smith epitomizes the essence of a battle-hardened veteran in the world of mixed martial arts. He has a career that spanned over 50 professional fights, and he's weathered every storm imaginable inside the cage, from grueling losing streaks to remarkable comebacks. Critics have come at him a little bit more in recent years because of the losing streak that he had prior to fighting Ryan Spann. But I think it's essential to contextualize those losses. He faced formidable opponents. He faced number 3 ranked Magomed Ankalaev and number 7 ranked Johnny Walker. There's no dishonor in failing to win a fight against those highly ranked and high caliber fighters. And his recent victory over Ryan Spann, while it wasn't the most...
It's like when I'm right, and when I'm wrong, I could have been right, so I'm still right because I could have been wrong.
While it wasn't the most barn-burning or eye-catching win, it was a win. And a win in the UFC is something that you don't put back on the shelf. You take every win that you can possibly get. But it does highlight a few things that you can take into this fight that would cause concern. The first thing is reluctant striking. One noticeable shift in Smith's approach has been his striking game. Once a cornerstone of his arsenal that facilitated his rapid ascent in the light heavyweight division, it now takes a back seat, serving primarily as a means to transition to his ground game. Now, his ground game is elite. He has an amazing ground game, and you can understand why he would want to transition there. But the balance of his attack has shifted far more to his ground game than it was previously. And despite his grappling prowess, Smith's striking remains formidable, and that is evidenced as the way that he used it towards the latter part of the Ryan Spann fight. Yet there appears to be hesitancy in his engagements and a reluctance to seize opportunities that present themselves in the heat of battle. The second thing is psychological factors. Beyond the physical tactics, psychological factors seem to play a role.
I think you should be here. I'm mad you attacked my family. You're attacking my family. Now what? They're having a conversation.
An intriguing moment arose during his fight with Johnny Walker, where Smith mentioned a threat to his family, possibly as a psychological tactic to fuel his own aggression. Obviously, we've all seen that. If you haven't, I'm sure there's a clip that's floating around, but it seemed like he was trying to get himself going in that fight, and he really couldn't get out of first gear. The third thing, and by far the most concerning, is his vulnerability to leg kicks. A crucial area of concern for Smith, and one that has been openly acknowledged by him, involves his vulnerability to leg kicks. This weakness, once aired publicly on the BYM podcast, now looms large as he faces Khalil Rountree, a Muay Thai specialist.
It seemed like those leg kicks kind of changed how you fought mentally.
Had I not had the leg damage, I would have changed my game plan and just said, all right, we're just going to stand in this boxing range and we're going to go to town here. And I'm confident I'd have been fine, but I couldn't take one more leg kick. Like, I didn't have the ability to change the game plan, to just strike with him and just box, because the one time he steps back into kicking range and I don't have enough time to close that distance and he kicks me, I'm down and I'm not getting back up.
If you aren't familiar with Khalil Rountree, look here. Yes, this guy, that's who he's going to match up against. Somebody who capitalizes on attacking the leg. Muay Thai, by its nature, it has an emphasis on utilizing the 8 limbs: fist, elbows, knees, and shins. Shins being the things that stand out the most. Where this is concerning, obviously, for Anthony Smith, is he has a very high vulnerability to this. So,
Vincent, I'm on the intercom.
I don't know. It's very concerning. It's very odd that this is the direction that we would go here. Rountree is currently on a 4-fight winning streak, including a sidekick to a knee that led to a victory. So that underscores his proficiency in that area. So his upcoming fight against Rountree presents a classic confrontation of strength versus weakness. Perhaps in accepting this challenge, Smith aims to directly confront and overcome his known vulnerability.
Test your might.
However, this matchup undeniably places him in a precarious position. His resilience and courage, aptly symbolized by his name, Lionheart, are beyond reproach. Can't argue that. Yet, this impending fight casts a shadow of concern over his well-being and future mobility, to be honest. And as a fan, and I am a fan of Anthony Smith, and observer, one can't help but feel a deep sense of apprehension for Smith as he steps into the cage against Khalil Rountree. But let me know in the comments, what advice would you give him and what would you do in this particular scenario? Until next time.